Delta, hello, Delta, Delta, Delta. We're back. We're back. Hang on here. I ask you for your patience. Ooh, we cannot lose the name. Is that better? Boom. There we go. Boom, diddy, boom, boom, boom. Okay, so our next question. Thank you all for joining. All somewhere between negative 200 and positive 112. We're to our next question now. And our next question comes from, and I hope I get this name right, and I'm certain I won't, but Priyamvada Natarajan. Priyamvada Natarajan. I hope that's close. Dr. Priyamvada is a professor in departments of astronomy and physics at Yale University, focusing on exotica. Excuse me. In the universe. You change one letter in that and it's a completely different field of study. I'm just saying. Dark matter, dark energy in black holes, and author of Mapping the Heavens. Exotica in the universe, dark matter, dark energy, black holes. So the craziest stuff that we kind of know the least about, or just kind of surmising that they're there. I mean, black holes were pretty more solid on the holes. But the energy and the matter and the dark side, on the dark side, yeah. Anyway, her last question is, are there limits to what we can know about the universe? Who the heck is we that you're talking about? It's funny that that of all the words that question could hinge on, the we is maybe the biggest word that question could hinge on, you know? Because I feel like the interconnectedness of whatever we're calling we has a direct relationship to what can be known, because the way I'm kind of thinking about the limits of information, or the let's say the ability to be objective, is that if you're part of a system, you can't really have a whole view of the system, if that makes sense. Like you gotta be kind of connected to the whole system, or even in some way stand outside the system to have a view of the system. And I'm going to call that knowing the universe. And if you are an individuated thing, then by definition, it's like you're a node on the network, you're not the whole network. So kind of by definition, the conceptualization of individualism is the negation of the ability to kind of know everything. It actually goes back to, there was an artist, and I don't remember the name now, I think she was from maybe China, but her question was like 5 characters long. It was I equals we with a question mark, which was fascinating to think about. But it intrudes directly into this question. I think I just think that it's kind of like related to like objectivity. Like we can we have to be able to say 2 + 2 = 4, and like that kind of mathematical stuff is like we agree that it's objective, because otherwise we don't get anywhere. But to think that you can be objective about other things that are much more socio-political and much more, like your favorite painting, like there's an objective best painting. So that is inherently subjective. But if you could now be hooked up with every other being that was thinking every other thought about their favorite painting, and be able to 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 make an algorithm in a way out of all of the experience of all of the network's idea of one particular thing, then maybe we could. You would know all the individual stuff and you would know the meta stuff, but you'd have to be kind of at another level. You have to be at a meta level to know. That's another way to think about it, maybe. You have to think about it in terms of like maybe even like degrees of freedom or something, but you gotta be able to think at one level higher on a certain hierarchy to be able to encapsulate everything that's below that. It's another way to think about it. So the limits, maybe the limits on the level that you're thinking about are related to the interconnection of the level, the network itself. But then there's another way to conceptualize it where you're the abstraction of the network. So that's really the only way that you can get to be able to describe it, as that you've abstracted it. Most of those were words, right? There's a theory that's in my mind that I've probably now bastardized, but I'm just thinking about the idea of the concept that like mathematics, like everything is mathematics, and we just get shown levels of it when we can do something with it. But it's just it's not turtles all the way down. It's mathematics all the way down, and every possible version of or whatever in mathematics is just we're just navigating a landscape of mathematics, which would make kind of physics in some way a subset of mathematics. Why not? Back to the matter at hand, because we've got to dot the T's and cross the I's. Drinking Logsden, a farmhouse ale. This Logsden dude is pretty good. The first time I had a Logsden beer was in Reykjavik, which is weird to get an Oregon beer for the first time in the middle of Iceland. Not the middle of Iceland, the edge of Iceland. Not the middle, edge of forest. Not the middle of forest. Anyway, they do Logsden's good. The first one I ever had was the Peachy Bread, I think, and that's probably their flagship. Freaking phenomenal. This is very good as well. Anyway, back to the question. Are there limits to what we can know about the universe? I talked about the fact that if you're a node in the network, you can't know the whole network. You gotta somehow be the whole network. Talked about the idea that maybe we have to extract to another level above that. Maybe whatever. You gotta have a degree of freedom on top of the degree of freedoms that are in the system. Translate that into entropy and Claude Shannon, and there you go. I don't want to do all the math. It's right there. It's right there. Well, are there limits to what the universe will let us know? Does it make sense to approach it from that way? Not really, because you've got to be able to comprehend what the universe is in order to be able to answer the question, and so you've already. Yeah, you can't. That's not a legitimate question to kind of like take it from the inverse. What do you mean by limits? Because it could be limits on useful or oh, maybe useful is a function of math. We may never be able to know how many sand grains there are in the Sahara right now, but do we care? Maybe the question is, are there limits to what's worth knowing that we can know? That might be a different question altogether. Is the exact number of sand grains in the Sahara worth knowing, interesting, useful? I can also think like feels like there might be a hierarchy of useful ways to encapsulate information about the universe that keep getting kind of harder to get to because you're wrestling entropy, and entropy is going to put up a good fight. So could the answer to this question be plotted on a kind of scale with how entropy functions in statichistic systems? Statichistic is not a word. It is now. It's like I want to say words that I don't remember what they mean, but it still seems right. Is it just one of those things where there's where you still could theoretically get to that next level, but it's just the cost. The cost is so great to get to the next level of understanding that it's just like it's just diminishing returns, basically. It's like we've explained 99.9927% of things, and to get to the next layer of math, to get to that, add 2 more zeros, we can do so much with what we've got that it's just like, let it go. It may be that we never get to an actual theory of everything. We just get to higher and higher resolution views, but we never feel that we've gotten to the end of it. We've just got to, it's like we've got a theory of mathematical precision that can emulate reality to where the description is predicts 90 whatever it is, predicts whatever it is. It's such a high percentage that we're just like, there's no use trying to get any farther because we're just, what else can you do with it? That's an interesting thought about where we might get with the theory of everything, that we just get kind of, as we have been getting, better approximations. But could we always just be looking for the better approximation and we don't actually get the base level ground, Are theories of everything fractal in nature? know if that makes sense as a thought. Because if they were, then they'd all kind of be the same, which doesn't make any sense. I don't know. That's a great beer. Let's take it another way. How would we know if we knew everything about the universe? Let's imagine a day where we're just like, okay, in that scenario, if we knew everything about the universe, we would know everything that was going to happen to us. We would know every thought that we were going to have, I guess, as we were having it or before we were having it, which would change. Oh man, you're going to run into lots of just philosophical, logical contradictions as you approach the idea of knowing everything about the universe. How because everything about the universe is everything that you will ever do, but it also would be knowing that at the first moment that you're anything, right? And then if you know everything that you're ever going to do, so the illusion of free will disappears as could that be what our well, I've said that before. It's like we mistake ignorance for free will. Anywho, so I think we do run into logical contradictions, not that dissimilar from like time travel in a way. I mean, some of the same kind of contradictions as we approach knowing like our own futures in the present. So maybe what does that tell us about determinism? It tells me I have free will. I don't have a choice. But little throwback to Hitchens there. So, Dr. Natarajan, I think I've laid out pretty explicitly. I put it in a PowerPoint, but I really don't like PowerPoints. But there are limits to what we can know, but it hinges on we. It hinges on other things. And yeah, just put that in put that into a formula, and then it's the absolute value of that formula. And there you go. That's your answer to that question. So it's two more. I'm humbled by my own humility. I don't know if we're on like 140 or 160 or something, but it's just been out of the ballpark. Everyone surprised, even me. Um, if this were a baseball game and I was just getting up to bat, it would be not just a home run, but a grand slam home run every time. And that seems odd because, it's like, oh, you know, Sanders hits a grand slam, and then the next guy up hits a grand slam again. You would think that can't happen because there's nobody on the base anymore after the grand slam. But this is what's happening every time I'm hitting a grand slam with these things. I can feel it too. I mean, I can just feel it in the universe when I peruse my Twitter feed or just the news or whatever. That the world has been getting better since I started this project, and it just makes me feel good. I started this project in late February, early March, something like that, and boom, everything is close to being as good as it can be. But I think it's like I was saying earlier, it's that last 2% that's going to be tough to get to. But I feel good, and you're very welcome. And I think that's it for this question. So, thank you so much. And boom, we done.